Every person leaves at least one place in their life where they never want to go back. But some places don't care what you want, they call you back anyway. You might forget them, but those places never forget you. My name is Aiden Crowley. If I say my life got messed up for no reason, that would be a lie. Because some things I pulled toward myself. Some things I went looking for. And some places I stepped into without thinking if there was even a way back. Since I was a kid, strange sounds never scared me. The dark never scared me. Closed rooms never scared me. But one thing always terrified me. The thing you can't see, but it's already there before you show up. When I got my first job, everything looked normal. It was an electronics store. Shelves, boxes, cameras, lights, everything usual. But on the very first night shift, I felt this weird heaviness in the air. The AC was running, but the air wasn't cold, it was heavy. Like the oxygen wasn't being shared, it was being blocked. I was adjusting headphones on a shelf when the storage room door behind me slowly swung open on its own. I turned around, nothing. The door was half open, like someone inside was standing there with their hand on it. I brushed it off as air pressure, but the fans were off. The AC vent was on the opposite wall, and the store shutter is sealed tight at night. So how? After closing that night, the manager told me, "Lights stay on, just don't stick around too long. Extra silence doesn't sit well in this place." That didn't sound normal, but I laughed it off. At 1:47 a.m., right when I signed the inventory sheet, the ceiling lights flickered not once. 3 times perfectly timed, like someone tapped the switch on purpose. Then I heard a sound from the storage room. A deep knuckle-dragging noise. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Slow, heavy. So real my grip on the clipboard almost slipped. I called out carefully. "Hello, if someone's in there, say something. I'm not joking." 2 seconds of total silence. Then under the storage room door, I saw a shadow move. Long stretched, almost liquid. Like the echo of a human shape sliding backward on the floor. I shut the door, turned the lights all the way up, and walked straight out of the store. I told myself it was just the job. 2 weeks later, I quit. My next job was in an old research archive. Old files, documents, missing person reports. Quiet work, respectful staff. The building felt stable. Everything perfect. But even there, the silence had another silence inside it. One that made your own breathing feel like it belonged to somebody else. One night, while arranging dusty record cards on the mezzanine rack, I felt something on my right side. Like someone's fingers were slowly moving along the railing. The sound was soft, slow, and way too intentional. Without turning, I said, "Who's there?" Silence, but the pressure got closer. I switched on my flashlight and turned, nobody. But on the railing, there were fresh, oily fingerprints. And some were reversed, like the hand didn't leave the railing. It slid inward. That night at home, I realized something. I wasn't just paranoid. I was being followed. Lying in bed, the mattress started to sink. First a breath, then the weight of a step, then another, like an invisible human-shaped weight climbing up slowly. I kept my eyes shut. I didn't have the guts to open them. Then right next to my ear, I heard a slow, faint, female-like whisper. "You closed the door." but you left the darkness open. My heart didn't stop. My whole life stopped for a second. I decided to leave that house with nothing. No bags, no belongings. Online, I found a big old darkwood furnished house. Rent so cheap it didn't make sense. It said silent neighborhood, minimal disturbance. And one short warning: light sleepers not preferred. Most people would back off. I thought this was my escape. When I got there, the door was half open. No caretaker, no lock, no paperwork. Just cold, dense air moving out of the house. Like the place itself was letting out a slow exhale. I pushed the door open and stepped inside. And the moment my foot touched the floor, my phone lit up by itself. No touch, no notification. The screen wasn't blank. There was a blacked out text in the center. Welcome. You are late. My hands went ice cold. And right then I knew. This place wasn't a new house. It felt like a continuation. Like someone had already been waiting for me here. And now I finally showed up. I thought I'd found a safe house. But when I touched the bedroom doorknob, I heard soft breathing inside. And from under the door, that same shadow slid through, pulsing slowly as it moved in. At that moment, I understood something. I wasn't changing places. I was being called back to the place where nothing had started, but everything already had my name written on it. The night I walked into that new house and my phone buzzed with the message, "You are late," I went straight to the bedroom door. The room looked normal: wooden bed, an old table, a corner lamp, and a big window showing the dead silent street outside. But the temperature wasn't normal. The air had this metallic smell, like rust mixed with old blood floating around. I thought maybe my imagination was overloaded, so I decided to step outside for some fresh air. But the moment I reached the street corner, I felt like someone was copying the sound of my footsteps in this creepy, ritualistic echo. Thak, thak, thak. I turned around. The road was totally empty. The streetlights were flickering like they were trying to send me some kind of signal. Then I saw a mini-mart type 24/7 supermarket ahead. I walked in, hoping a little crowd would help calm my mind. But the second I entered, something felt off. The staff's faces were completely blank, like they weren't even thinking, just existing. One cashier stared at me without blinking and said, "You came back, but this time the exit won't be manual." I froze. I said, "Excuse me, do you know me?" He didn't respond, just slowly pointed under the counter. There was a scratched-in message. "Don't follow the shadow, it follows first." Right then, the freezer section glass started fogging up, and on that fog, someone wrote a message with their finger, right in front of me. "Aiden, don't ignore me again." I bolted out of the store, grabbed a taxi, didn't look back, and told the driver, "Just drive. Any direction. Go." The driver looked at me in the mirror and said, "I can't take you there, because you're not going anywhere anymore." I turned to look behind me, and in the backseat behind my bag, a half-formed shadow shape was sitting. A human silhouette, but hollow inside, like an empty person with weight and a stare, but no body. I yanked the car door open and jumped out while it was still moving. My knee smashed into the ground and pain shot through my whole body, but I got up and ran. Every streetlight blinked above me, one after the other like a signal chain. I ran toward my old job area, that tech and gadget superstore where I used to work. The store was closed, but the lights inside were still on with no staff. I pushed the door. It was locked, but it unlocked itself with a soft click. Inside, all the shelves were perfectly arranged, except for one thing. Every security camera slowly turned toward me and froze. The display TVs, which should have been off, all switched on. Every screen showed a dark hallway where a shadow was crawling toward the camera. Not inside the screen, but moving like it was about to crawl out of it. The shadow's lower body looked normal, but the upper body swayed like a broken puppet. Then a distorted female voice came through the speakers. Not human, not demonic, not robotic. Just empty. You left me the first time. Ignored me the second. Ran away the third. Now the fourth place won't be yours. It'll be mine. A sudden blast of wind hit the store from inside, not outside, and all the screens went black. One sentence popped up. Don't go back home alone. I sprinted out of the store and ran toward a random cafe. But on the way, in every reflective surface, car windows, closed shop glass, bus stand ads, even puddle water, the same shadow appeared, always behind me, but physically invisible. When I finally reached the cafe, out of breath, the door was unlocked but the lights were off. I turned on my phone flashlight and saw an old visiting card on the table with my name on it. The front was blank. On the back it said, "You are not haunted by a place. You are haunted by a decision." I had no idea what mistake I had already made, or what mistake I was about to make. Then a chair scraped from inside. I turned around. No one was there, but fresh water droplets were on the chair, as if someone had just sat there soaking wet from rain. When I stepped outside, I realized my shadow wasn't walking with me. My real shadow was frozen, and another shadow was walking in the opposite direction. In the middle of the night, with no light source, that shadow wrote on the ground using finger crawl motion. Choose where to die before I choose it for you. That's when something hit me crystal clear. It didn't want to trap me in one location. It wanted me to choose when and where I would break. Because it wasn't a haunting. It was a decision collector. I was standing outside the cafe, breathing so hard it felt like my chest was about to rip open. My mind was numb from shock. My legs were shaking, but staying there wasn't an option. I instantly pulled out my phone to call someone, but the network was dead. The only thing blinking on the screen was, "No signal, he is near." I rushed out of there and started walking toward another part of the city without stopping. The night was dark, the air felt suffocating, and the streets were completely empty. The streetlights kept blinking like some invisible thing was touching them from the inside. When I reached the crosswalk, I saw my reflection in the glass railing on the sidewalk, but the reflection wasn't synced with me. I was walking, but my reflection was just staring at me still, like a frozen frame. The reflection slowly raised its hand, even though I didn't move mine. Then it wrote on the glass with its index finger. Running is also a choice. Right then, a third shadow appeared behind my reflection. Tall, crooked, dislocated shoulders, and made of pure black smoke. From the reflection's cheek area, smoke-like nerve lines started crawling outward, like it wasn't reflecting something, it was pulling something out. I turned my face away and just ran for my life. I decided I wasn't going back home. So I checked an online quick-shift job portal. Surprisingly, there was a fresh vacancy posted for the same night, a nearby hotel shift for night desk and hall monitor. Good pay, short shift, and most important, a public building. I figured it would be safer. The hotel looked super old, Victorian style, iron fence at the front, and warm yellow lights glowing dimly from the inside. The lobby smelled like lavender, but the shadows under the lights moved weird, like they were stretching themselves on purpose. There was an old lady at the reception desk, perfectly still, dried out eyes. She just handed me a heavy iron key and said, "Aiden, if you get a call from the 3rd floor West Wing corridor, don't answer it." I froze. "I never told you my name." She didn't react at all. I looked at the register sheet. At the bottom of the page in dark ink, someone had written, "Checked in, never checked out." My hands turned cold, but I still went to the duty lounge and sat down. Right before midnight, a buzzer went off, E303 West Wing Corridor Monitor Alert. I remembered the old lady told me not to answer, but the alarm kept getting louder and the screen was flickering. I went into the monitor room. The CCTV feed for the 3rd floor West Wing was glitching with static. When the static cleared, the camera didn't catch a human. It caught a crawling shadow. The shadow wasn't on the floor. It was crawling upside down on the ceiling. And its shape kept glitching like broken video frames with every move. Suddenly, the camera started zooming in by itself, and the shadow's faceless head came right up to the frame. Then a voice came through the speakers. "You left me. You saw me. You heard me. Now you owe me." I stepped back, breath frozen. At the same time, another camera activated the elevator on the ground floor. The lights inside the elevator were off, but a moving shadow was inside, the same one from the store. The elevator doors opened by themselves, slow and creaking. A whisper came from inside, not male, not female, just hollow air. "Aiden, you didn't want me in one place, so I became everywhere." There was no physical entity inside the lift, but the temperature instantly dropped, felt like -10 degrees. Then fog formed on the elevator's glass panel and writing appeared. "Same message as your original, left blank by you." Panicking, I ran to the hotel washroom, splashed water on my face. The mirror was foggy. When it finally cleared, my reflection wasn't there. A shadow was standing in the mirror instead. And it wasn't copying my movements. It was copying what I was about to do. Like my future motion was happening in the reflection first. Then I heard an alternate version of my own voice through the mirror. "The decision collector doesn't just want your end. He wants your final choice." When I walked back to the lobby, the old lady at the reception desk was gone. Only a note was left behind, written in red pen. "When you choose, he ends. When you don't, he enters." And below the note was a fresh, wet fingerprint. Not the size of mine, the size of his. This wasn't a decision about dying anymore. It was a decision about ownership. The words on that note in the lobby were ripping my breathing apart. "When you choose, he ends. When you don't, he enters." My hands felt like ice, but something inside me whispered, "Do I really believe that shadow is him? Or have I already become part of it?" I looked toward the middle hall of the lobby. There was this narrow wooden door that absolutely wasn't there before. Dark smoke was leaking out from under it. I walked toward it slowly. The door wasn't locked. When I opened it, there wasn't a hotel basement behind it, but a long, endless black hallway, no lights, just faint chalk writings on the walls. Where you went, I was. Where you ran, I was already there. Where you stopped, I became you. My heartbeat wasn't slowing down. It was syncing with something else's heartbeat, somewhere down that hallway. I started walking through the corridor. Each step I took, I didn't hear my steps beside me. I heard them ahead of me, like something was playing my future footsteps before I made them. At the end of the corridor sat an old wooden chair beside a cracked mirror. But the mirror didn't show people, just weird dark shapes, almost like patterns pretending to be silhouettes. Below the mirror was a leather-bound diary, the exact same kind as the one I'd found in that old warehouse. On the cover it said, "Final entry, if you open, you become." I was terrified, but my curiosity was already poison in my veins. I opened the diary. The first line said, "A shadow isn't a soul. A shadow is an unfinished decision." Next line, "When a person's most critical decision stays incomplete, their conscious form turns into a shadow, looking for the next host." And then, shadows aren't born from death, they're born from choices. My breath caught. It all hit me. The shadow wasn't a person or a ghost. It was someone's unfinished choice. On the last page was a dried-out stamp. Victim name, Aiden Hale. Status, previous host. Outcome, decision incomplete. My legs froze. Previous host. I stepped back with the diary in my hand. And then I saw my reflection in the mirror. But it wasn't me anymore. The same crooked shadow was standing behind me. Fully formed this time, same height as me. But its face was hollow, like smoke had carved it out. Without lips, it whispered, "I'm not you. You are me." Right then, a second reflection appeared behind us. Some unknown guy, his face distorting into dark fog in the mirror. Text began appearing on the mirror, like it was burning in from the inside. Every host BCOMS the next shadow, until one completes the decision. All the moments snapped together. The house the shadow watched. The store the shadow warned. Mini-mart the shadow stalked. Taxi the shadow attached. Tech store the shadow invaded. Hotel the shadow replaced. The shadow didn't want to kill me. It wanted to finish me, so I wouldn't become the next piece in the cycle, but the one who takes its place. My final choice appeared on the wall, glowing like infrared chalk. Stay right arrow, you become the next shadow keeper. Leave right arrow, someone else takes your place. I let out a small laugh. The wild part was, there wasn't a happy ending in any direction. No matter what, the choice always turned someone into a shadow. I slowly closed the diary and sat down on the chair, eyes shut. Then I whispered, "I choose." The hallway went instantly silent. The mirror's cracks started revealing. The shadow froze, and all the lights shut down. Only one faint line floated in the air. Host locked, cycle reset. 2 months later. Same city, same hotel, same late night weather. At the front desk, a new employee was signing his appointment letter. The old lady handed him the key and said, "If you get a call from the third floor west wing, don't answer it." The camera angle shifts. Under the corner lamp in the lobby, someone is sitting in the chair. Head down, silent, not moving. Just faint shadow motion swirling around him. There's a tag hanging from the chair. Overseer. And the lamp's light slowly stretches, morphing, shaping itself into a shadow form. A shadow doesn't chase people. It just keeps searching for the next person who's willing to take its place. If this story chilled your bones, like, share, and subscribe before the shadows choose someone else.